Hello, my name is Resilan, and welcome to Satisfactory.
Today we're going to look at our new fuel plant. This looks a little different. If those of you who remember what this looked like, this is my fuel plant, and this originally was just an open platform. It has now been enclosed, and we have expanded it and added in a whole new area of this. So first, let's just remind ourselves about what is here. On this particular component, we have crude oil coming into the refineries being turned into heavy oil residue using the alternate recipe. We have the heavy oil residue that is coming in here being combined with packaged water using the alternate recipe diluted packaged fuel. We then have that going into packagers to unpackage the fuel and run the empty canisters back over to the water packagers. And this set of packagers is taking water and producing packaged water for this whole setup. Now from that, we looked at recently on one of our earlier episodes, we looked at how we were doing our fluid mechanics on this particular thing. We have the fluid buffer here. And then that is being fed into my generators to produce all of my fuel. Now, originally, this particular floor, and then I have batteries here as well. And this particular facility that was open, just an open platform, we've now enclosed it and we've built a second story. Along with that, this floor is producing 15,000 megawatts of power. Now, we're going to go up to the next floor and take a look at the second floor and what we have built in here on the second floor. And I realized that I didn't create a way in. So we're going to create this temporarily, a way into the building, so that we can take a look at what we have here. So this looks a little bit different on this particular setup, but it is in fact producing the exact same 15,000 megawatts of power. And from the initial, it is consuming 225 crude oil. So the first thing is the refineries here. Same recipe. I'm using heavy oil residue blueprint, bringing in the crude oil, turning that into the components that we have here. So this is there's 12 of these. No, yes, there's 15 of these that are bringing this in, and the crude oil is coming in there. So that's my crude oil that's coming in. And I think there may be 15 times, if we look at it in 15 times 30, of what's coming in. Let me see on that. I'm kind of curious about that. 15 times 30, that is 450. So this is producing 450, or requiring 450 crude oil, and that is actually correct. I think the ones down below was also using 450. It was 2 each at 225. So that is then producing into that explains my math problem that I was having. That the heavy oil residue is then piped into 12 diluted fuel. We're using the alternate recipe for diluted fuel. So instead of packaged diluted fuel, now that we have progressed further in the game, we have the blender that can produce diluted fuel, and we have that blueprint that's using heavy oil residue and water directly. So I no longer have to package the water and then unpackage it. Produces the fuel directly. We're running that fuel out into some buffers here, just a couple of fluid buffers, and then we're running that over into on each side we have 50 generators that are producing the power that we have. Now we have a couple of generators down here that are not running. This explains some of the components. So there's a little bit of work still needs to be done in getting everything balanced. I've got to get all the fluid in the pipes. Everything needs to be at 100% before it will run efficiently. This is still in the process of kind of getting set up. I think this side over here has been here longer and been running longer. It's probably now there's still a couple down there that aren't running too. So there's still a couple things that I need to do, but the math is there. It's just a matter of getting everything sorted and all the fluids working correctly. I do have some here. I have some valves, but there may be a couple of other things I need to do just to get the fluids to where they don't back up, slosh around. Sloshing was one of my problems in the other one. I didn't raise these fluids up, and I may end up needing to raise these fluid containers up before I'm done. But that is the newly designed facility here for producing more power. I was starting to run low on power. I only had like 2,000 left, and we're getting into the point where I'm having to build some fairly large facilities. So this was one of the things that I did to solve that. With some of the, we see some of the oscillating going on, a little bit more of that than there should be, and some of that's also from the thermal generators. So some of it is to be expected at this point in time. But I went from having 17,700, which was the component, and you can see that I'm consuming 16.8, and now I have 32,700, and it's bouncing around a little bit, but I'll get that resolved, and the total is around just over 32,000. So I've got a good solid setup here now to kind of take me to nuclear power. That'll be one of the next things that I'm actually going through. Spent a good bit of time, on the building, just as far as the looks and the aesthetics of the building, to give it some dimension to where it looks like it's not a flat, just square building, but instead has some texture to it with some of the posts and columns. Had a lot of fun with this build. It did take a lot more time than I would like to admit. I spent a good bit of time working on this. Overall, though, I'm pleased with the outcome, pleased with the result. This will be my last fuel plant in this build. I intend to my next power plant, and the next power expansion is going to be nuclear power. Hope you're enjoying the video series, guys. If you are, please leave a comment and a like, and we'll talk to you later.
If you're enjoying the videos, please hit the like button as it helps me out, and consider subscribing to the channel to be notified when new videos are posted. Thanks for watching, and take care.